Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NFC North Open Mic Night. It is I, Main Event Mike, your host, a much energized Mike. I've licked my wounds, my tail between my legs after the beatdown the Baltimore Ravens put on my Detroit Lions on Sunday, 38-6, a 32-point lead. My apologies to anyone that took my advice to take the Lions in 3 points. It seemed like a good bet at the time, folks. I don't think anyone could have predicted the Lions would come out and play this flat, this poorly. Lamar Jackson looked incredible. 3 games already played in the NFC North this week, 1 to go tonight. We're going to try to hit all 4 of those contests with a little preview of tonight's game against Minnesota and San Francisco. As I said, Lions fall to the Ravens on the road 38-6. Chicago holds serve at home and beats the Las Vegas Raiders 30-12. And the Green Bay Packers they lose to the Denver Broncos 19-17. It's open mic night, so put your comment in. We will kick it around. We'll try to get some people on here. I have put the links in the comments. If you're watching on Detroit Lions Villain Squad, like it, please. If you're watching on Main Event at Main Event 365 on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video that you're watching. We're also broadcasting live into Detroit Lions news podcast, the Hallis Hall Report, and the Detroit Lions main event, of course. Jay Brooks says, Detroit, baby. I put the link in there to StreamYard. Anybody wants to join the broadcast, hit me up. You'll be in the backstage. We'll do a quick vetting. We'll make sure you're not a robot, and we'll let you on the show. And we'll talk about these 4 teams. Since our first commenter says, Jay says, Detroit, baby, let's talk about Detroit. Detroit falls to the Ravens 38-6, and let's put it clearly, folks, it was an ass whooping. The first half, they were all over us. Dan Campbell in his post-game press conference said just as much. Those guys over there beat our ass, he said. Lamar Jackson was incredible, 21 of 27. The guy already throws at a 70% clip just, on a regular week. But this week against the Lions, 21 of 27, you're pushing 80% completion percentage there. 357 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. An insane QBR of 155.8. He also had 36 rushing yards. So, I mean, the guy alone is right there over 400 yards from scrimmage he's given your team. The Lions 3 and out on every offensive series in the first quarter and 1 in the second quarter as well. The Ravens just answered each one of those series with touchdowns. By halftime, it was over. The Lions made a push at the end of the second quarter. They got a couple of bad penalties that really crushed any comeback hopes, I thought. Even though we got the ball to start the third quarter, we know what the Lions have been doing in the third quarter, especially on the opening series. Rajneesh is here. He's a Bears fan. Thank you so much, Rajneesh. What's good, fellas? John Sabo says that game was a dumpster fire. It certainly was on one side. I did have Mark Andrews on my fantasy team, so there was a silver lining. Also, the silver lining for Lions fans, the Packers lost to the Broncos. Detroit Fan Man says, hey, peoples. Hey, Detroit Fan Man. Thank you for everybody that joined me this morning with Football Talk with Russell Wayne. Russell was on a 11-hour car ride on his way back from the Baltimore game, and he still has not arrived home. So here I am all alone, producing, hosting. I'm a man of many talents. I can destroy your take. I can also praise your good take. So put your take in and let's hear it. Rebecca says, still Honolulu blue through and through. Monday Night Football next week, baby. That's a great point there, Rebecca. But Dan Campbell did say in his post-game press conference that maybe we needed this. Get smacked in the mouth a little, bring you back down to reality, little reality check. You played a really good team on the road with a really good quarterback, and they spanked you. And he says we should be embarrassed, and hopefully that'll get the team fired up, and that will then, his words, spill over into the Raiders on Monday Night Football. It's going to be great just to have the Lions on Monday Night Football. As Lions fans, we these moments are few and far between for us. So to play the Raiders on Monday night, it's going to be a special night. I really hope the Lions can come out and win that game. It would have been so much better had they been competitive against the Ravens, but to get blown out like that really just takes all ammo away today. All we can do is sit here and eat spoonfuls of it from the other fan bases. So if you want to spoon some up, I'm ready to eat. All right, moving on. Trinity says Detroit needs another edge rusher to help out Hutchinson. I don't know. Where was Aiden Hutchinson? I know he's getting doubled all the time. They left Charles Harris at home. Dan Campbell said it was nothing more than just they wanted to give Julian Okwara a chance. And that, to me, is the story of this game. Not able to put any pressure on Lamar Jackson. He had all day back there to wind his watch, make a sandwich. He was averaging like 6 seconds in the pocket. And he's got a great arm. The guy is not a one-trick pony with the legs. The guy can throw. He was uber accurate. He was throwing touch passes. He was throwing lasers. He was throwing nice arcing balls. There was a horrible wind in Baltimore that seemed to knock down all of Jared Goff's passes, but Lamar Jackson didn't have a problem with it. So just a great job all the way around by Baltimore. Everything they did turned to gold yesterday against the Detroit Lions. I don't know if they need another edge rusher or not. They got to get pressure with 4 guys. Very few teams in this league are able to bring the blitz like Minnesota and still somehow get away with it. Not that they really do, but I don't know. We have 8 or 9 guys on that defensive line. They're all interchangeable. We have some good edge rushers. James Houston is hurt. He's a great edge rusher who we don't have in right now. So I'm not sure about that. I know that we need help in the secondary. You can never have too many DBs. I know we need that. It would be great to see what CJ would look like in this defense. But I got to put it at the feet of Aaron Glenn after talking to Jeremy Ballreich this morning. He's right. They never went out of that base. They never went to nickel. They did get Brian Branch back. It didn't seem like they did anything to take any chances to try to curtail the train that was rolling down the tracks that was the Baltimore Ravens offense. I got nobody in the backstage, so follow the link here. I'll put it in the comments again for you if you want to come on and join me. We could talk about your team. We may have to abandon the trash talk because I've run all the Packer fans out. They don't like it hearing that their team sucks. I'm not sure if you know how trash talk works, folks, but if you quit or if you block me, I win. If you remove me from a group, I win. If you just don't want to hear me anymore because I'm shredding you, and then you come back out a couple days later and start talking smack again, you still lost because you didn't let Main Event Mike get his piece in with you. You decided to run. So we may have to pivot from the trash talk because you just can't. It's like Tyson. He couldn't find anyone to fight. So we do love good football analysis as well. Detroit Fan Man says, wildest part is the history. Lions last playoff win. We started 5-2. Last week 7 versus the Niners, but check the score. 38-3. We lost week 7 in that year also. That's a great call out, Detroit Fan Man. I love it. 38-3, just another 32-point loss. We lost 2 more to finish the season. That's a great take. And then we got destroyed by the eventual Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins that year. Daniel says, just take it out on the Raiders. I love that call out. Jay Brooks says, I wasn't able to watch it live. I was out with the lady and her fam, but I couldn't believe that. It was good that you didn't have to see it in person, Jay. Believe me. But Jay does agree Hutch needs some help because he's getting held every play. He's getting held every play and double teamed. And then in the Kansas City game, it was egregious how they were just cheating the right tackle to counteract what Hutch was doing. But you know what? I'm not going to put anything on the referees. I saw holding on both sides. Tyler Linderbaum was a holding machine in that game, but I did see some holds on the Lions line too that were not called. And actually, the Ravens had their fair share of penalties in that game. There were a couple of calls that went against them. I'm not going to harp the referees. Maybe if the game had been close and there was a call that held the game in the balance, but there wasn't. This game was over quick. Very reminiscent of the Carolina game from last year for Detroit. Rajneesh says, my take is no worries in Chicago. Well, I'd be a little worried. I mean, Chicago's pretty tough. But no worries in Chicago. They get their second win. They get to 2-4. They are now tied with the other guys in the division for second place. So I love that the Bears got a win. I really do, against a Raiders team too at home. I mean, not a great team, but a respectable win against the Raiders, if you ask me. Looks like Will Vogel's trying to join, but you need to allow your cam and microphone, Will, and give that permissions, and we'll let you in. Hey, there he is. Please welcome to the show, Will Vogel. He's a Panther fan. How you doing, Will?
Doing good, pretty good. Doing pretty good.
I know, Will, that you also watch the NFC North very closely, as I know you are very intertwined with the Lions fan base and a lot of podcasters in the Lions sphere. What did you see from this Baltimore Lions game, Will? Maybe from a Lions fan's perspective.
What I saw was a lot of miscues. A lot of miscues. There were a lot of holding penalties on the offensive line. If I'm not wrong, Penei Sewell had two of them.
Mm-hmm.
You had quite a bit of drops from Amon-Ra St. Brown, which is very un-Amon-Ra St. Brown like. He also did have some nice catches. Julian Aquara was very cold. Ragnar, the whole O-line struggles to give Goff some protection. And don't get me wrong, this Ravens defense is good. They are a good Ravens defense. And we knew that coming in. The Lions versus Ravens was going to be a hard fought game in the trenches because they've got a good defense
Mm-hmm.
who has a lot of different weapons like Kyle Hamilton and the guy they just got back from injury. They got some weapons on that side of the football, and they showed it against the Lions. They pressured Goff almost every single play.
That's a great call out. The wind was bothering Goff on the throws, but you know what? That, like you said, that Baltimore defense was bothering Goff. Roquan Smith, Patrick Queen. You're right. They've got some studs over there on the defensive side of the ball, and they were getting to us. And it seemed to be everything they did on offense just seemed to work, and everything that we did on offense just did not seem to work. That when something like that happens, it's usually a good indication that the coaching is superior. You're getting out coached. I did notice Hutchinson biting on some play fakes terribly, and totally exposing that whole side of the field by biting on the play fake. He at one point he tackled the ball carrier who had gotten the fake, and a full couple of seconds later, Hutch still thinks he's got the ball. So it was really every misdirection play that Baltimore ran. It seemed that we bit on it. That was a great take, Will. Thank you so much. Anything else about this Lions game that stood out for you? I know that you mentioned Amon-Ra St. Brown dropping a couple, but Amon-Ra actually had a typical Amon-Ra game, right? He had 13 catches for 102 yards.
He
But you're
still
right.
played well. He just
Yeah.
missed some of the. Okay, I'll give Raw some break because Raw did drop some bad ones, but also some of the passes were rushed by Goff because Goff was getting swarmed by the blitz, and Goff had to throw it quick to get it to Goff. Or I'm sorry, to St. Brown. So some of it's Goff, some of it's St. Brown. Do I expect this to happen again next week? No, I do not. I
All right.
expect Brown. I expect this team to turn the amp all the way to 10 and say, hey, we just lost to a good team where we should have contended at least. And this is a wake up call. We need to smell the coffee. We aren't there yet. Take it game by game. We can't say, oh, yeah, we're tied with the best NFC record with the Niners and the Eagles. But you know what? This is going to turn that defense and offense around because they're going to play on Monday night. They're playing against a really poor Raiders team, and Dan Campbell is going to be hounding at them at practice saying, hey, you dropped that ball in a game again. I better not see it in practice this week.
Right. And so I like that take, Will. Saying the Lions are going to take this as motivation, turn the amp up to 10. But this one goes to 11.
Yes.
Well, I don't think Will's old enough to get that reference from Spinal Tap, but I know someone who is. His name is Jeremy Ballreich, and he's just joined the show. He's a writer for the South Florida Tribune, and it's also Smoking Jeremy B on X, formerly Twitter. How are you, Jeremy?
Fantastic. Doing well. Doing better than, most of the fan base of the NFC North.
Is that right? Tell me, what are you seeing out there today?
All of them have 2 wins, and it's more than likely that Minnesota doesn't get one tonight either.
That's
No,
right.
they won't.
I like it. And you know what? Let's transition to that real quick since there aren't any Packer fans left anyway. Let's talk about San Francisco at Minnesota. It's San Francisco -7. First, I want to get real quick from both of you. We'll start with you, Jeremy. Your pick, San Francisco -7. You like Frisco and laying the points, or you want to take Minnesota and the points here?
In a way, I kind of like Minnesota and the points without Debo Samuel and with a hampered Christian McCaffrey who may not play. It, yeah, you just heard mini scrotum. Yes, I did say that. Mini scrotum. um, I expect them to keep the game close. San Francisco just have enough defensively to keep whatever Minnesota has going for them out of the end zone.
Yeah, number one defense in the league. It's going to be real tough. I know Minnesota has a good offense, but with no Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook out with an injury. Oh, wait, no, they got rid of him. It's going to be awfully tough for Minnesota. It's going to be tough sledding, but San Francisco is going to be pissed off too, right? They're coming off their first loss of the season. They get the extra day for rest here to play on Monday night in Minnesota. It's going to be real tough. But I agree with you, Jeremy. I like Minnesota and the 7. They played real tough against Kansas City. This is a trap game. I wouldn't bet on this game for nothing. I wouldn't. Nope. I wouldn't even touch it. The over/under is 44. Jeremy, what do you like there?
I kind of like the under.
So if you're listening out there, Jeremy Ballreich says, "Hey, if you're gonna bet it, he likes Minnesota +7." And bet under 44. Will Vogel, same to you. What do you think? Minnesota getting 7 points at home against the Niners.
I think yeah, I agree with Jeremy. This Minnesota team has lost a lot, but this Niners team is banged up. McCaffrey's dealing with an oblique, and he's playing with it still. And then you got Debo who's injured, and you're coming off a loss against the Browns. And you know what? I would also take the under on the point total. But look out. This guy, I think, could have a good game. I'm not going to say George Kittle because George Kittle, we know, is a great player. I'm going to say Brandon Ayuk is going to have a good game tonight.
I hope you're right. He's starting on my fantasy team tonight, Will. I hope you're right on Brandon Ayuk. So I love that call out. Ayuk. So I didn't understand what you said. Did you say over or under 44?
Under.
Totally okay, so under. You're aligned with Jeremy then. Take the 7 and the under. And as you mentioned, Debo Samuel out. Adam Schefter reports that Christian McCaffrey will play. To what extent, we don't know, but Adam Schefter has reported that McCaffrey will play. Also, one thing not a lot of people are talking about, maybe the best left tackle in the whole game, Trent Williams, is doubtful for this game. That could be huge.
Yeah, that's when you flip Danielle Hunter to the other side and let him eat.
Yeah, and Brian Flores, I got to give him kudos, man. All these Vikings fans told me he was going to be a difference maker, and I really think he is. I think they are overachieving, even though they're only 2-4. They've been in every game, and this guy is blitzing He's blitzing now more than any team in history. If they continue on this pace, they are blitzing 61% of pass plays, which is the most in NFL history through 7 games. The league average, for some perspective here, the league average is 29%. And the Vikings are blitzing at a 61% rate. I'm sure that's to camouflage some of the deficiencies they have on this roster. But when you're facing a guy like Brock Purdy, who's a young quarterback, last week he was blitzed by Cleveland. He did not handle it well. He suffered his first loss of the season. Last week, Brock Purdy loses to Cleveland and they blitzed him. He was 12 of 27. Not good. Less than 50%, folks. Only 125 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and an abysmal quarterback rating of 55.3. So, if Brian Flores can get to him, rattle him, if we know that skull chant, that U.S. Bank Stadium is a very hard place for people to go in and win, maybe Minnesota can pull out this victory. I think it benefits the Lions more for Minnesota to win this game than to lose them. Jeremy, what do you think of that?
Yeah, if Minnesota wins this game, they're going to feel like they won their Super Bowl and they're going to hang a banner because they can't win a Super Bowl.
Hey, Jeremy, let's give them some fairness now. They've
been there 4 times.
Hold on now. They lost to Philly. They lost to Kansas City. Now, if they lose to the Niners, is there really any shame of Minnesota losing to those 3 teams? They had a brutal schedule. This is the price you pay when you win the division. The next year, your schedule's brutal.
Right. And no, there is nothing really to be upset about as a fan, especially if you want to rebuild this team the proper way, which is letting everybody go next season and starting over with rookies and having a second bad season in a row.
Yeah, and they are. It looks like a lot of these Viking fans are ready to get rid of Kirk Cousins. I don't understand it. They should have extended this guy. He's a franchise quarterback. He's an efficient quarterback, the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He probably would probably even do a good contract because he's very comfortable there in Minnesota. You've got Justin Jefferson and T.J. Hawkinson. Hell yeah, I'm a quarterback. I want to stay in Minnesota if I'm him. I don't understand why they hate this guy so much. He's been carrying their team. You have any thoughts on that, Will Vogel? Because I know you're reaping the benefits of Adam Thielen out there in Carolina having a monster year. Maybe the Vikings should have held on to that guy, right? Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen. Can you imagine how much better this team would be? I know Adam Thielen would have played for the league minimum probably. He's close to retirement. He knew he had a couple years left. He wanted to stay in Minnesota, yet they ran him out. Any thoughts on that, Will?
Yeah, I think they are definitely reaping the benefits because yes, you got Jordan Addison, but I think Jordan Addison's overrated. I think Thielen was the perfect complement for Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson's the guy who reaches out and grabs the ball and makes those nice catches. Thielen was that slot receiver and the safety valve for a team like that, a number 2 receiver. Where
That's
in
right.
Carolina, he's a number 1 receiver because he has the most experience. But he was a number 2 in Minnesota, and he racked up great numbers when he was on the field. And I don't get why they don't like Kirk Cousins either, because personally, like you said, I've always liked the guy because he's led them to the playoffs. He's led them to NFC championships. He's made the teams good.
He's efficient.
I think he's efficient.
Except in
why do you
primetime
not
and
want to
playoffs.
Right. In primetime and playoffs, he has
the
not
only
showed up.
thing the only thing that hurts him is the prime time in the playoffs. But other than that, he is a very good field general.
Mm-hmm. I love that whole take, except Jordan Addison being overrated. I think the rookie is showing out. I think he's showing he's the real deal. But to your point, I would have loved to see Minnesota keep Adam Thielen and draft a defensive piece in the first round, not another receiver. They had the number 2 receiver, like you said, a perfect complement to JJ, and they let him walk out the door and bring in a rookie, and now their defense is thin at every position. Go ahead, Jeremy.
The receiver they should have let go is KJ Osborne, the overglorified slot that's doing nothing this year.
Yeah. He did have some flashes last year, though. They do believe they love him there in Minnesota. They love KJ Osborne. I mean, this was a real chance for him to step up, but Jordan Addison's beat him out right out of the gate. If you're a Viking fan and you're out of witness protection, put it in the comments for us, and let's kick around your point. Let's go to the comments here. Rebecca says, serious question, was Hutch being held over and over, or did that not qualify as holds? There were some that were and some that weren't. To be clear, you cannot grab outside the shoulder pad, in case you're wondering. You also cannot grab them by the jersey, have fistfuls of jersey, which is what Tyler Linderbaum did the entire game. So, yeah, I think, Rebecca, Hutch was being held. Ali McNeil was being held terribly. But we can't point to that in a game where we're not even being competitive.
You did see my roast post that I put out there today, right?
I did. It's going to make the roast posts.
Nice.
Next week. Next week when our producer
did you show
is
him
back.
my roast post I sent you?
No. No. I just thought that one was pretty good.
I'll send it to you later, Mike.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Send it to Mike. There you go.
Sounds good. And then I'll forward that to the producer, Russell Wayne. Don't forget, folks, the producer, Russell Wayne, has a show every single weekday morning at 11 a.m. Let me pull up this really cool thing that I got here for it. You guys are going to love this. Here it is. It's the NFC North Main Event Football Talk with Russell Wayne every weekday morning at 11 a.m., streaming live into Detroit Lions News, Detroit Lions Villain Squad, at Main Event 365 on YouTube. And Russell is the producer, and he puts all the roast. I send him the roast posts all day long, and then he puts them all together. So no roast post this week, Jeremy, but yours is definitely going to make it in next week. I already screenshotted it and sent it to Russ for next week.
You like that one, huh?
It's going to be in for sure. Anytime we can roast Aaron Rodgers, I love it, but I am a much bigger Aaron Rodgers fan than I ever was after watching him on Hard Knocks. I thought he showed a lot of class.
He did
Raj,
show a lot of class. I just wish he could have shown that class on the field instead of having 5 snaps.
well, yeah,
Oh
well,
no.
4 plays in his Achilles.
yeah, he made
Yeah.
it through more. He made it through more plays than Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, just like Emmanuel Mosley.
Rajneesh, who's a Bear fan, says, "Oh, that's not the Rajneesh comment I wanted. Where'd you go, Rajneesh? Some smack he was talking here. Okay, has the D toilet? Oh, I forgot I can put the comments up. See that? Look at that. I'm learning, guys. Baby bird leaving the nest. Rajneesh says, has the D toilet Lions revealed who they really are against the top teams in the league? Oh, KC doesn't count. Yeah,
KC does so count.
KC doesn't count
Jesus.
because they won the Super Bowl. So, because Travis Kelce wasn't there. If I'm not mistaken, the Bears beat the Raiders yesterday, and the Raiders didn't have Travis Kelce. So there you go. The D-Toilet Lions. I love that, especially coming from the Chicago Bears. John Sabo says still first in the NFC North.
Amen, John.
Larry, the officials have been bad all year, but we got to go with the flow. That's a good call, Larry. Not just bad for the Lions, as usual.
Across the league.
We've seen a lot of bad officiating across the league. And I do want to say there's a couple of lady officials out there. They're doing an awesome job.
Maybe we need more of them.
Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't take much for, 44 men to go, yes, dear. Whatever you say.
All of them look way better than Clete Blakeman. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, he was the worst. Corey says, we will see a lot of games left. I know one thing, we will be at the brakes off your team. We will beat the brakes off your team. I think in the back of your mind, you already know this. You must be talking about the Lions. Bear Down Mike.
Corey Patterson's a Lions fan.
Our good friend Bear Down Mike. Main Event Mike, do you think for the rest of the schedule there may be some trap games? If you're talking about Chicago Bears, I don't think there is such a thing as a trap game when you're the Chicago Bears. You have the worst record in the league last year in the first overall pick. So far, you have 2 wins. There are no trap games for you. You are listed as an L on everyone's schedule. Just to let you know that. First, I think I may need to give you the definition of a trap game. A trap game is a game you're supposed to win, but don't. So if you can find me a trap game on the Chicago Bears schedule, unless they're playing a college team, there are no trap games for Chicago. Go ahead, Jeremy.
For as far as the Lions schedule,
yeah,
3 road games that I have question marks against.
Okay.
Number 1, the Chargers, because they are a good team. They're just not well coached. And you don't know which team you're going to get from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, at U.S. Bank Stadium versus Minnesota. It has been Dan Campbell's Achilles heel.
But he gave that game away last year.
Yep, but like I said, it's been his Achilles heel for our schedule. And number 3, at Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those are the games where you would think we got a shot at winning.
Right. But they wouldn't qualify as a trap game because we will be underdogs in those games.
Right.
So a game that you're favored
in this last game, and every game we've been favored in right now, we won except Seattle.
We were favored against Seattle as well.
We won except Seattle. I'm saying.
Yes, we were a 1-point underdog to the Chiefs. And the other games we were favored. Before the season started, the Lions were favored in 12 of 18. Since this start, that has now flipped. It's like 14 of 18 we're favored. So, but that still wouldn't constitute a trap game, though, right, Jeremy?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying.
Because
it's not really a trap game. I'm saying they're games that people are going to think we should win, except for the Dallas game, of course, because they've got that vaunted defense that let Cardinals beat them. But anyways,
right.
I mean, who would you rather be beat by? The Arizona Cardinals, the Denver Broncos, or the New England Patriots? Or would you rather be beat by the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks?
It doesn't matter. An L's an L. That's a hypothetical.
I know it's it may be a hypothetical, but who would you rather lose to? The bottom feeders or those 2 teams?
I think it would come down more to I'd rather lose to an AFC team.
Right.
If you're going to take an L, let's make it from a meaningless AFC team that's not going to have any ramifications down the road. I'm starting to get behind on all these comments. I don't know how you do it, Russ. Detroit Fan Man says, never a great sign when Goff attempts 53 passes in a single game. Hope that's the highest number we ever see from him. Gosh, I know that's right. Hutch needs help. I definitely seen with my own eyes. Bugs takes plays off. Oh, there's a good call out. What do you see on that, Jeremy?
Well, half of those plays that everybody thought he was taking off, he was being held by Linderbaum. So that's almost a bad take.
Detroit Fan Man talking back to Bear Down Mike says, depends on how you define trap games. Only 2 of the final 10 games we play against teams with a winning record. The whole thing feels like a trap.
Yes.
What? Hutchinson needs help. Russell said the D-Toilet Lions have the best defensive line and depth in the division. Yes. Unequivocally, inarguably, the best defensive line and depth. I mean, the Packers line with Preston Smith and those guys and Rashawn Gary, they're a formidable group, but I think we saw in the last game that our offensive line neutralizes those guys. We got the best D-line and the best depth. I will definitely defend Russ to the end on that one. Somebody loves your choice of words here, Jeremy. Minnesota. Bear Down Mike says, Bears are on the up and up. Defense is playing great. I like our chances against you guys. Against me and Jeremy and Will, I like your chances too. Right. Oh, you don't possibly mean the line.
Oh, you mean playing against the University of Michigan? Yeah, okay, yeah. I can see that.
Corey says, if the defense plays like that and Goff plays the way he did, every game is a trap game. No, and that's just such a great point there. The way the defense played in the last few games is what won those games for us. We came out swarming. I mean, when we were in Lambeau, Packers didn't have a chance in that first half. We were just all over them. Same thing against Atlanta. Same thing against Tampa. That was a real tough, hard-fought game. I was thinking about that today after the morning show. Maybe that's what happened to the Lions, too, is they expended a lot of energy in Tampa to win that game. They laid it all out there to win, and they just needed some more rest. I don't know. We are a relatively young team as well. Moving on. Tyson Bagent, the man for Chicago. Let's talk about this Chicago win for a minute. Chicago Bears beat the Las Vegas Raiders 30-12. Tyson Bagent in his first NFL start gets the win. And here's your numbers. He was 21 of 29. Jeremy, that's a pretty good percentage, right?
Sure. Yes, sir. That's fantastic for any quarterback, let alone a rookie.
21 of 29, 162 yards, 97.2 passer rating, and 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. The real story here was the turnovers. The Chicago Bears able to get 3 turnovers and convert those into points. They were able to run the ball. They had 173 yards of total rushing. They beat the Raiders with their second and third string quarterback in, no Jimmy Garoppolo. They're able to stop the run. The Raiders only get 39 rushing yards. Hey, Will, did you get a chance to peek in on this game at all? Chicago and the Raiders. Anything to add here?
Yeah, the Tyson, good for, as much as I don't like the Chicago Bears, I think I like Tyson Bagent. He's a good young quarterback. Do I think he could be like a Brock Purdy and go on a run? Maybe, maybe not, but he put up good numbers for his first start as a rookie. And mind you, he came from a D2 school to Wisconsin, drafted in the NFL. Good for that kid.
Never seen Wisconsin, though.
Yeah, but that's a great call out. Shepherd College. He went to Division II, set all the NCAA records for touchdowns, yardage, and pass completions.
Makes me happy. I worked at a D2 school.
Right on. Bear Down Mike says that if Bagent starts Sunday and beats the Chargers, definitely need to have a conversation about making the switch. Justin Fields, no more as the starter is what Bear Down Mike is saying. I know a lot of Bear fans do not agree with you, Mike. They think that they're still sticking by this kid. Obviously, the kid's got an immense amount of talent, but Tyson Bagent, rookie comes out, gets a win. Las Vegas, not a horrible team. They're a bottom half team, but they're not a horrible team.
How crazy is that, Mike? A UDFA quarterback comes in his first game and outplays a first-round pick in his first game. Mm-hmm. If you line them up side by side, it's night and day difference.
Absolutely. Definitely Chicago, got to be good for them to get a win here. It's even makes it even more heartbreaking that they couldn't pull out that Denver game and give themselves a third win. They are going to have the Carolinas pick, who has yet to get a win, so they're still going to be picking in the top 5 with one of their picks next year.
Wow, what is it about NFC North teams making Russell Wilson look relevant again?
Yeah, no kidding.
First it was the Bears, now it's the Packers. Now we're just waiting for the
Right.
Vikings.
The AFC West and the NFC South was our schedule matchup this year, and we are running through the NFC South, and the AFC West is running through Chicago. But
Like
they,
Taco Bell.
yeah. But hey, they got to win here. They got to win here against the Raiders. And now the Lions get ready, and the Raiders team's going to be demoralized, humiliated, and they're going to come in on Monday night and give the Lions all they can handle, I am sure. Let's go back to these comments right here. Let's be honest. Do you think your defense can stop Herbert and Keenan Allen? Talking about the Bears. Well, I don't know. Minnesota almost did. They had, but those guys play on my fantasy team, so I'm jaded.
Just a quick question: what starting quarterback since 2020 has the most losses on his record with his team?
Would that be Justin Herbert?
That would be Justin Herbert with 28.
And $158 million contract with a 500 record as a starter.
Yep.
But you know what, Jeremy? That's kind of a cherry-picked stat, because if you look at his completion percentage and you look at his average target, he's among the league leaders. He's a phenomenal young quarterback. I don't
guess who cherry-picked that stat. It wasn't me. It was CBS Sports. They posted a meme about it.
Okay, that may be. But when we're starting to compare Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent to Justin Herbert, we're starting to
no.
We're crossing the line. You got to admit, Justin Herbert's a top 5 quarterback in this league.
Wait. I'm talking about active players that started in 2020. Fields is not in that group. Fields has lost more games than Justin Herbert.
Okay. I get what you're saying now. All right. These coaches are playing for the jobs, so we'll see. Bear Down Mike says Matt Eberflus and company playing for their jobs. I have to agree with that. Ryan Poles is sitting there with his finger on the button, and he is waiting for those guys to falter. As long as they keep winning, they're going to delay that. So I think that's a great call out. Okay, Rajneesh talking to another Bear fan. They're going derp, derp, derpity derp, 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 derp.
They got the win, Jay.
That was. I'm sorry, Bear fans. That was me being main event. Mike reared his ugly head for a minute. Sorry about that.
It's okay. No, this is the show to do that.
Bear Down Mike feels pretty confident that the Bears are going to be able to stop the Chargers. So they're going back and forth here. I'm just going to leave that conversation alone. Corey, Rajneesh, and Bear Down Mike, they are all going at it here in the comments. Staley loses the game. I think that this is where Ben Johnson would be going if I'm Ben Johnson, right? Next year, Brandon Staley's got to be gone. I don't give a crap what they do from here. This guy's lost his job. I think Josh McDaniels needs to go as well. These are two guys I think we're going to see gone next year in the AFC West. They're going to be clamoring for Ben Johnson and his gigantic brain to come to the AFC West to battle Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. They're going to give him a bag and a Brinks truck to come out there, and I don't think he's going to be able to say no. You heard it here first, folks. I say Ben Johnson will be the head coach of the Chargers in 2024. Bear Down Mike says, of course we stopped Josh Jacobs leading rushing last season. Stop Devontae Adams. No TDs. We can definitely stop Chargers weapons. That's a stretch.
Wow.
Those two things are not mutually exclusive.
Brian Hoyer and Aiden O'Connell is not Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen.
True that. I love this question from James O'Brien. Will, we'll kick this one over to you first. James says, what do you think is the biggest weakness on the Lions? Well, where's the chink in the armor here, Will?
Man,
I agree. Indecision.
I think it's the back end of the defense. I know Will Harris has 2 picks, but I'm not sold on Will Harris. He got 2. His first pick was very lucky because Bugs tipped it at the line, so he got a pick there. And they got another pick the other day, and everyone's reading saying, "Oh my gosh, Will Harris is playing out of his mind." I'm like, yes, he's playing good. I wouldn't say out of his mind. So I would say that, like, that skill position group for sure.
That's a good call out. I love that call out. We're thin on the back end. That's what I would have also went with, Will.
The back end
And,
for
and,
sure.
and to your point, Will Harris got abused by a rookie, Zay Flowers, yesterday.
He did.
And it wasn't even close. It was egregious. Jeremy, same question to you. What do you think is the biggest weakness on the Lions? You could take the back end secondary if you want, like Will did, if that's what you think it is.
I'm actually going to say corners in general. The
Okay.
safety room isn't bad as long as everybody's healthy, but GJ's out. Kirby Joseph has been a shell of what he was last year, but we've been using him differently than we did last year. When you're making him an in-the-box safety versus a single high safety, that's two different styles of play. That's not Kirby's strong suit. He's better in single high safety coverage. That being said, instead of trading for somebody and getting somebody that might put us in cap hell for a year or two, why don't we just go ahead and pick up the kid from Detroit that just got cut by the Steelers, Desmond King? He can't be worse than Will Harris.
Okay.
I do like King's numbers. I looked at him last week, and he's good. He's young. He has the numbers. He has the intangibles. I think he'd be a perfect fit for the team.
And he does well in man and zone.
I definitely think when you look at how Lamar Jackson carved us up yesterday, I don't know if it's the players or if it's the the scheme. I know that Jeremy, you're not a big fan of Aaron Glenn, and you lay a lot of it at the feet of Aaron Glenn. But I have to agree with Will here. It's a personnel issue on the back end. Just not enough studs. Like you said, if we had Emmanuel Mosley or GJ in there as well, this would be a different looking unit. I also saw Cam Sutton get beat a couple times yesterday badly. He's been sticky. He's been great for us. He had a bad game as well. Also, we're moving Rodrigo moving to fullback. Jeremy, I want your thoughts on Malcolm Rodriguez being moved to the backfield.
Oh, this makes about as much sense as when we did it with Kabinda, except he's smaller. He's 5'11 and 230. You're going to make him block, which I understand he gets leverage angles and all that good, happy crap. Bullshit. There's a free agent out there that was cut on my birthday that I'm pounding the table for. Xander Horvath out of Purdue, pro comp of Mike Allstott, 6'3", 240 pounds, runs a 4.5 40. Get me a fullback, a real fullback.
Okay, first of all, Jeremy, you rarely ever see a fullback 6'2" or 6'3". He's the perfect size for a fullback. 5'11", 230. Perfect. Ironhead Hayward, 5'10", 240. So, yeah, I love this move. He's athletic. He's gritty. He's not afraid of anything. He's a special team star now, by the way. He's trying to get on the field any way he can. I love this call. I love this call with the absence of Jason Cabindo. Why do you want to take up another roster spot when you got a guy sitting there already that you can plug and play? He's sitting on the bench most of the defense because Jack Campbell's a stud in the making. Derek Barnes having the best season of his career, and so is Alex Anzalone. So, I mean, the guy wants to get on the field. I'm sure he said, yes, sir, whatever you need me to do, because that's what Rodrigo is like. Will, what do you think of this? Malcolm Rodriguez moving to fullback.
You know what? The fullback's readily utilized besides you got Patrick Ricard and Kyle Juszczyk. So we'll see how it works. Maybe it'll work well. Maybe the Lions will incorporate it somehow into the offense and do some fun plays with it. But I do agree. I love seeing Malcolm say, hey, I'll do whatever you want, sir. I'm here for a reason. I can do whatever you want whenever you need it. But I do also like the guy Jeremy mentioned because he is a stud. Having a pro comp of Mike Allstott, geez, dude, we haven't seen a guy like Mike Allstott in ages. Yes, you've had guys like Mike Tolbert and others, but they're nowhere near the level of what Mike Allstott was.
Right. Yeah. Mike Allstott, definitely an all-time great, especially when you talk about fullbacks. Jonathan Haidt in the comments. He's a regular contributor in the groups. Yo. What's up, Jonathan? It's glad to see you on the show. You're always good for a good take. We got slaughtered, folks. Got to get better for sure. Jonathan says, we got to get better before the deadline. Got to make a move. I don't see us doing anything really big, though, Jonathan. I think Brad's going to run with what he's got. We've got a little bit of money under the cap. Jeremy, what do you think about that? You think the Lions make a move, any splash move anyway?
I think it'll be all vet, prove it deals or put free practice squad poaching like we've been doing. We don't have the money to make a big move.
Right.
And he's not one to make a big move in the middle of the season. If you look at when the Rams finally did a big move in the middle of the season, guess what? It was Les Snead without Brad Holmes. Shocker.
Right. Jonathan also says Jameson Williams needs to start catching the balls. I lost my money.
Of the year.
I lost my money on Jameson yesterday. All he needed was 2 catches for me to win, and he couldn't secure 2. I'm not ready to give up on him yet, but all directional arrows are pointing towards bust with Jameson Williams. And just calling Jameson Williams, even sniffing the notion that you're going to call Jameson Williams a bust, might get Russell Wayne to come onto the show. Bear Down Mike says Kellen Moore will take over as head coach. My opinion. I respect that opinion, Mike, but I think that the Chargers are going to clean house, and they're going to bring in a new coach, and that guy's going to bring his guy in. Besides that, Kellen Moore stunk it up as the OC of Dallas last year. I was amazed he even got this job. He stunk it up.
It was less of Kellen Moore and more of the lack of the effort by Dak Prescott.
Okay, well, look at what Goff and Ben Johnson have built. It's a synergy. These two are connected. They put the game plan around what your quarterback does well. Kellen Moore certainly did not do that for Dak Prescott last year. He went to things they were calling plays. I mean, he got through 12 interceptions after getting injured for half the season. I got to put some of that on the offensive coordinator, just like Jerry Jones did when they shipped him out. So I think it's a good call.
15 interceptions for Dak last year.
Yeah, but 12 was after the injury, right? 3 were before.
3 was the one game before, yeah.
Right.
And he had 3 game interception games. So is it all Kellen Moore's fault that he throws to people with the other color jersey? No, it isn't. It's because his decision making is a little less than desirable.
Ever since Jameson Williams has arrived in Detroit, he's been a polarizing player. He divides the fan base. Some love him, some hate him. Go ahead, Will.
Jeremy said this, and I love it from JMO. JMO's that guy who goes to the jug machine, practices, gets there early, and is the last one to leave. When he's done, he waits till St. Brown is done just to leave because he doesn't want to be the last one the second to last one to leave. That is maturity from a second-year player. And when do you ever see that from a second-year player or a first-year player? Because that is full-on maturity and showing responsibleness and say, hey, I'm not going to be late and be irresponsible and do silly stuff so I don't get playing time. This guy works day in and day out on practice. And you know what? Sure, he hasn't done what everyone wants him to do, but the guy is still maturing. He didn't play in a lot of games last year. He had an amazing touchdown last week against the Bucs. Give the guy time. I give guys 3 to 4 years window before I call them a bust.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I'm happy he does all that extra work in the jugs machine and all that. I still lost my $25 because he couldn't catch 2 balls. Okay. That doesn't mean jack niddly at all. So, but I love the take. I love the take. Go ahead.
Here's the other thing. I don't think JMO likes losing. He played at Alabama, played well there. He played well when he came into the Minnesota game when we had a lead, when he got the touchdown there. He played well while we were beating the snot out of Tampa and made that big catch there. This game we're behind. It looks bad. He gets open on the left hash, have the ball hit him in the hands. I don't care if you're diving. It hits you in the hands. That's your fucking job.
Right. And you said something this morning that you saw him take some plays off.
Yeah. He quit on 2 routes.
Yeah.
He was only targeted 5 times, 2 drops. 1 was uncatchable. And then he quit on the other 2 routes.
He's had a rocky start to his career. I mean, everything from gambling to lighting off fireworks on 4th of July and all that. So
lighting off fireworks on 4th of July. 99.9% of America does that. I don't give two fucks about it.
all right. Well, to Will's point, though, maybe you give the guy a little bit of time, but Will, that's what you say about a back end first round draft pick. That's what you say about Christian Watson in the second round. You don't say that about a guy you move up 20 spots to get at number 12. That's a guy that should be producing right now. Every time he gets on the field, we should be seeing a return on that investment, and that's what's dividing this fan base. We'd like to welcome to the show a Bears fan. He's our good buddy, Woody.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, Woody.
Hi,
You're the
Woody.
What do you think of Secret Bajan Man now?
Yeah.
What?
Jeremy has a show where he asks the questions. You guys can tune into that show anytime you like. But right now, I'm going to ask the questions. What'd you think of Bajan?
Hey, he managed the game, but it's not really he did anything. He didn't throw downfield. And I think it was more our defense that pulled through.
Right on.
I mean, Jalen Johnson, 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. It just seemed like these receivers were getting open more than if Fields was in. He was spreading the ball around. Unfortunately, Komet, didn't really do anything. Tanyan had, I think, a catch or two, but even though National Tight Ends Day yesterday. But I'm still thinking Fields is our quarterback, and he's hopefully, Bajan, he can come through the next couple of days or a couple of weeks. Next week we got the Chargers. One that gave Kansas City all they can handle yesterday. It's going to be tough.
National Tight Ends Day, huh?
Absolutely, sir. You didn't know that?
Oh, I did. I celebrated. I just didn't know it was related to football.
Yeah, Laporta.
Anyway.
Well, hey, Laporta had it all over his jersey yesterday.
So, Woody, so I know that you've never been a big Justin Fields fan from the beginning. You're one of the very few exceptions for the Chicago Bear fans base that is not suffering from Stockholm syndrome with this guy. Are you ready to get off the train now, or would a good performance in San Diego make or break it for you?
Well, like I said, Fields is out for the next 2-3 weeks. He might come back next week. We doubt it. I want to see how he does after he comes back from his injury. Doctor says his grip is getting better. But if he comes out, after his injury and takes a shit, I'm done. Even
if Bagent wins the next 2 weeks, you would be in favor of putting Bagent back on the bench for Justin.
Absolutely. That's how football works.
That is true. You're not supposed to lose your job because of injury.
Absolutely.
But I think there is an exception to every rule. And if you can't throw the ball accurately, that would also be a reason to lose your job. So, I mean, doesn't maybe this one fall outside of that?
I don't like it's like Justin Fields. He had a good game, against Denver, even though our defense blew that. And then we go out and beat Washington. He had 3 touchdown passes each game. But the thing that scared me is when we went home against Minnesota, he did shit during the first half, got injured in the third, and, Bagent came in, he got those 2 turnovers. And I'm not off the wagon yet, but like I said, I want to see how he does when he comes back from injury.
Right on. So next week, who do you guys got next week, Woody?
We have the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right. We just got done talking about that. And you got to go out west to play them.
Yep, and Khalil Mack is going to be hungry.
That is going to be a tough one for you guys.
Absolutely.
I believe that's going to be a tough one for the Lions as well. Anytime we go out to the West Coast, we never play well out there, it seems like. It's going to be a tough win. Chargers taking some tough losses these days. They're going to be looking to beat up on the NFC North any chance that they get. What do you, Jeremy? I want to ask you, what do you think? Bears, Chargers. You like the Bears' chances out there, or no? They're going to get pummeled.
Come on, Jeremy.
I don't know which Chargers team is going to show up.
Right.
If the Chargers team that failed versus Denver shows up, they got a shot.
Right. The one that eked out a victory over Minnesota.
Or the one that eked out a victory over Minnesota.
You almost said venereal.
The difference between those two teams is that we've been getting there, but we haven't been getting in the quarterback. Herbert will throw all over us. Keenan Allen, he's going to be, yeah. If we don't get to Herbert, we're screwed.
Okay. All right. The pass rush is going to be key, according to Woody.
Absolutely.
Let's go back to these comments. Rebecca says, kind of wish people would get off the JMO train. Look at Gibbs being a strong rookie. That's what we wanted from JMO, but he can't catch the ball for real. Yeah, well, I mean, so you say get off the JMO train, you mean give up on him, Rebecca. That's a tough one. I don't see that one happening. Gavis Concon says, yep, and fire that 21 Tracy Walker. What a shitty game he played. Jeremy, you want to comment on that comment?
He's not wrong. Tracy Walker has been dog shit in coverage. Other than the couple games he's been in where he dropped interceptions, he's covered the wrong guys. When he doubles up, he picks the wrong receiver and leaves one open, a la the Christian Watson's only touchdown this season. What can I say? I mean, even on the 2-point play, instead of covering Dobbs, he ran over to Watson, and there was a safety already on that side of the field. He didn't need to be there.
Mm-hmm. Gaviscon says, I think Alex gets a little too much responsibility in the middle for his ability. I'd rather see Jack Campbell in the middle. And I like that take. I like where you're going there, but these coaches love the way Alex Anzalone runs the defense. They love the way he does it. He was with Aaron Glenn in New Orleans. He knows all the terminology inside and out, and he's very helpful to the young players on the defense. I don't think that's going anywhere anytime soon.
You're talking about a top 20 ranked linebacker in the NFL right now, whereas Derek Barnes last week was our lowest graded linebacker.
Right, so, that's a good one. That's a good call out. Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No.
Oh, good.
I was reading the comment.
Yeah. Khalif is kicking ass. Khalif Raymond is kicking ass. It's one of Russell Wayne's favorite players. Yep. Let's talk about him. He's one of those players that'll always come through. I know that by virtue of us falling behind so big against Baltimore, it hampered the game plan that Ben Johnson had scripted for this game, because I know he was going to give Amon-Ra, he was going to give Jameson and Khalif all touches out of the backfield on jet sweeps, on pitches, on reverses. I know that was in the plan, but we fell behind so fast and so far that you had to just, try to make up ground. You didn't have time for trying anything, right? There was no room to breathe. And Corey says Alex earned his spot. That's a good call out as well.
Yeah, I was surprised yesterday with you in Baltimore. Wow, I was surprised. I knew there might have been a chance for Baltimore to squeak that out, but not by that much. I was very shocked yesterday. There's a couple games that I was shocked yesterday. That was the number one game.
Yeah. What about Green Bay losing to Denver, Woody? What'd you think of that? You got to think it's hard for me to say this, but Jordan Love only showed up against us in week 1. Yeah.
You got to think they squeaked a couple of games out. And yesterday it just showed, when it comes to the clutch, it was like him and Atlanta too. He can't throw the long ball to the receiver at the end of the game to get to that good field position to get the field goal. Can't do it.
Instead, he throws an interception to seal the deal for the other team.
Yeah, another thing is that I don't see Minnesota winning tonight. I only can say this probably once this year. The only team that won in the NFC North this week would be the Bears. Don't worry, I'm not going to get used to saying that, but it's going to be a shock. But Green Bay, I was, surprised. Denver came back to beat us, with that massive second half comeback. But the way Denver handled Green Bay yesterday, it was pretty impressive. Right. And Russell Wilson didn't do shit.
Right. And like you said, Jordan Love looked great against the Bears week 1. And then the Packer fan base were ready to get him a gold jacket at that point. Yep. And then he goes to the Raiders. He loses. He did try to come back against Atlanta. Now, to his credit, he did come back on the Saints. And he did engineer a comeback win there as well. So I think Jordan Love is going to be fine. I'm on record saying I think he's going to be a savable NFL quarterback. I do not think Justin Fields will be a savable NFL quarterback. I think the only ones who don't think the Packers suck is Green Bay.
All right.
Yeah, Packer fans. But I'll tell you what, they're jumping off in droves. They're leaving groups. They are not coming on shows. They are hiding their heads. They're like whack-a-mole. And as soon as they win again, they'll pop their heads back up, and we'll be there to smack them back down.
Yep.
So, hey, I appreciate you gentlemen joining me today. Don't forget, Russell Wayne will be back next week. NFC North Open Mic Night every Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Russ and I will be back on the morning every weekday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Be sure to check us out. Follow our page on the Facebook. It's called Villain Squad. Lions Villain Squad. Also, our YouTube, subscribe, please. It's at Main Event 365. Like the video that you're watching right now. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. God bless each and every one of you. Peace out.
See ya.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabenda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. You have a great day.
All right.